Hello and welcome to the introductory video for SANS Active Defense, Offensive Countermeasures, and Cyber Deception. My name is John Strand. Now, I wanted to jump in and kind of give you guys an overview of what we cover in this class, and I wanted to spend a couple of seconds and really focus on the outline. Now, I know that that's not like super exciting. People are like, "Whoa, it's an index, hooray!" But anything that's bold is a lab with this class. One of the things we really wanted to focus on with SANS 550 Active Defense, Offensive Countermeasures, and Cyber Deception was making sure the students got as much hands-on as possible. Also, wanted to make it as accessible as possible. So we have labs on what are the defenses for bad guys. We have a cancel lab. We have a lab where you play with advanced backdoors. We have a lab with software restriction policies. And then we get into the active defense stuff, which is my favorite. We get into OS Fuscate, Dom Hamoy for messing with bad guys if they're trying to attack your web server, Spider Trap, infinitely recursive web directories, Thug. How do you interact with an evil website that you know is completely evil? Then we have you play with evil because, hey, if we're going to have a fun class, people have got to play with evil things. Dianea, Honeyports, Port Spoof, Kipo, Artillery, WebLab, and CryptoLock, Conpot, Decloak, Word Web Bugs, Nova, Beef, Java Applet Attack, PowerCat, Ghostwriting, Honeybadger, Jar Combiner, and then to cap off the 28 labs that we have in this class, which is the most labs of any SANS class that's out there. Now, of course, the 542 looks like it has more, but they're an extra day. We actually managed to get just as many labs in fewer days. And then we close out on day 5 with an awesome Capture the Flag. Now, the other thing that's really important to us is the virtual machine. I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about the virtual machine here in just a little bit, but you get the ADHD, active defense, Harbinger distribution with the lab. We build labs on the HoneyDrive VM, which is absolutely awesome. You want to make sure that you have VMware Player or Workstation, you have 2 gig of memory, everything you need is baked into it. But I'm going to talk about something special here in just a couple of seconds with the VM. Before we do, let's talk about what active defense actually is. Well, active defense is not about revenge. It is about changing the current information security landscape. But more adaptive approaches to information security get away from the simple easy button. Really, we're trying to stop looking for plug-and-play security solutions. Now, can some of this stuff get you into legal trouble? Possibly. It can, but there's a tremendous amount of information in this class that's there to keep you from getting out of trouble. Because this class isn't just about hacking back. It's about having a range of different options, from annoying bad guys, increasing the amount of work they have to do to break into a system, all the way up to attack if you have full legal warrants and authorization from your organization. So yes, you're going to be able to implement things from this course, because these skills are absolutely critical. If you look at the attackers, they're getting more and more brazen because there's very little in the way of attribution. There's very little in the way of risk. There's all kinds of things the bad guys do to obfuscate where they're coming from. They can attack from a botnet. They can attack through Tor. How do we actually detect the bad guys and really mess with the bad guys if they do that? This class answers those questions. And the big question that we have to look at is, are traditional security technologies failing? And I think, in all honesty, the answer to that question is, yeah, it pretty much is. So if we look here, if I actually go with my red pen, if we look here, this stuff right here, these are the security technologies you spend a lot of money in. Network intrusion detection systems, log review, fraud detection, host-based IDS, that includes your AV, incident response, IT audit. Now, this is from the Verizon data breach report from a couple of years ago, and the reason why we have this one is twofold. One, they don't have a cool bar graph like this anymore. And also, and numbers haven't changed. So if we look at this, your security technologies are failing you. They are absolutely failing you. Your external customers are doing better at detecting hacks on networks than your technologies that you spend a lot of money on. Now the question becomes why? Why are these things not working? Well, if we went back in time, let's say 5 or 6 years, what were they saying about what needed to be done to defend networks? They would say patch your network, install AV, and what are they saying now? Patch your network, AV, maybe IDS, IPS firewalls, but it's the same technologies again and again and again. And a quote that's generally attributed to Albert Einstein is insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and somehow expecting different results. Now, this is nuts, and let me show you why it's crazy. Just a few questions. Take a couple of moments and write down what are 3 AV companies. Points for big names, right? I want you to think of 3 IDS companies, intrusion detection system companies. Once again, points for big names. What are 3 firewall vendors? Who are the biggest? What is their total market share? I'm willing to bet with the 3 or 4 top names in AV, IDS, IPS, firewalls, you've gotten somewhere like 80 to 90% of the entire market share. Well, okay, with that in mind, if we know that we have that many vendors that have that much of the market share, a few more questions. Who are your main adversaries? Who keeps you awake at night? Is it China? Is it Russia? Is it the NSA? Is it organized crime? Are these the people that freak you out? Because if so, do you think that the adversaries have the ability, time, money, rocking abs to bypass the limited technologies we just mentioned? Of course they do. Before they even get into an attack scenario on your network, they already know roughly what technologies you're using, and they already know roughly how to bypass those technologies. So the point is, our traditional defenses are static. They are not moving. And this class is all about creating defenses that are unexpected. It's about putting a little bit of, deception in your security technology. Because remember, all warfare is based on deception. So yeah, check out SANS 550. Here's the link. You guys can pause it. SANS 550, active defense, offensive countermeasures, and cyber deception. And before we get too crazy, I want to show you a little bit about what the VM for the class looks like. Now, we've put a tremendous amount of work into this class, and it's built upon the Active Defense Harbinger distribution. This is a DARPA-funded project that came up a couple of years ago, and the entire class is based on it. One of the things that makes us really happy about this particular distribution and what we've put into it for SANS, however, is the usage document. Now, the standard Active Defense Harbinger distribution has a usage document. It looks a lot like this. For every single tool on the distribution, there's full step-by-step instructions, there's walkthroughs. We've added in some additional ones for SANS 550, dealing with Honey Drive, and also some Windows labs as well. But I want to show you how this really is something like you've never seen before in a SANS class. One, the labs are not built into the slides. With a lot of SANS classes, you have step-by-step instructions built into labs, and that's cool, that's awesome. There's a lot of labs and there's a lot of classes where that works really well. However, in this class, we're trying something new. You have the step-by-step instructions built into the VM. So yes, the tool that you would use has kind of like man pages built into it so you can make it effective at work. Also, for every single lab, there is a video of that lab, a walkthrough of the lab. So you can hear me talk about what the lab does, what the goals, the objectives are, and you can see me actually type in the commands. And full step-by-step instructions are there as well. So you can literally copy and paste. Now, the videos are not in the open source Active Defense Harbinger distribution. They're just in the SANS class. So I really hope whenever you're looking at spending your money, hard-earned money on coming up with your next security class, I really hope for your consideration that you'll think about SANS 550, because this class will change the way you think about computer security. How's that for a corny catchphrase? All right, thank you so much, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.